Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
All right.
I'll check WASHITAW.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's the issue. Okay. We're looking at the reclamation process, which is our procedure for United WASHITAW. It includes your nationality card, which is not a paper card, it's a hard plastic stock, and lamination with watercolor marks and security marks. Then we have the affidavit of nationality, the affidavit of declaration of status, affidavit of truth, affidavit of facts, affidavit of revoking power of attorney, affidavit of common law name correction, affidavit of common law non-taxpayer form and witnesses or status, affidavit of denial of corporate status, and live claim birth, or what is called your baptismal record. So these are the documentations that we utilize for nationality. All right. Anybody know why? Why do you think we utilize these affidavits? Well, I can tell you one reason. According to the maxims of law, truth must be expressed in a form of an affidavit. So you can say that you're a Moor, but if you don't have an affidavit verifying, proven, shown as evidence, then you're not a Moor. You're not indigenous. You're not a natural person. You don't fall under common law. You do not fall under natural rights, which is natural law, which is God's law. You fall under a corporation, Negro, Black, and Colored status. You're NBC. That is the issue. That's the problem. These documentations, these affidavits, verify the fact that you're not an NBC. You're not Negro, Black, and Colored. You're not a corporation. But you are indigenous. You are a Moor, which ties you back to the land. But verification of that land tie comes by way of the court cases in which that is verified within your documentation. The United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner. That's a verification. A Moor just saying they're a Moor and can't claim any land tie is not a Moor, because Moor has land. In fact, this is why the definition of land has the word Moors embedded inside the definition, because Moors and land are synonymous. They're interchangeable. Everybody understand? Y'all can say Yebo?
Yes, Evo.
Yebo.
That's the purpose of declaring your nationality. We're still getting people asking, what's the benefits?
Hey, Dr. Allen, do you have an example of how the card looks?
It's online. Go to the website. I might have one inside this presentation. I have to look. So, once again, this is the purpose of nationality, is to verify your land ties. Once again, you being a temple Moor, part of a temple, saying that you have a vast estate is not verification of your land ties, is it? In actuality, please explain that to me. What is the actual proof of land ties if you're in the temple claiming that you're a Moor, and we know that the word Moors is embedded inside the definition of land, and you say that you have a vast estate? Reason why? Because according to the information, chapter 47, the vast estate is mentioned there. But what's the proof of what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is saying? How can you prove it? What is your DNA? What is your genetic line? See, this is the problem with those that rather be just in the temple, clapping hands, and sensationalism. We're not into that shit. We're here in order to prove the information that Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about. Someone read for me chapter 47 in the Moorish Holy Quran, Circle 7. All good Moors got to have the Moorish Holy Quran, Circle 7. Come on.
Islam, Doc. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 47. Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old Man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem. the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the Father and the Son, the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open up their meetings and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet in the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God, Allah, to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing.
All right. So, what clues did y'all pick up in that? How is the Moorish Science Temple of America supposed to be functioning? Obviously, they're not functioning the way in which that Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated in chapter 47 just now. Taj was correct. They've been infiltrated, Masonically infiltrated, and the information has been held back. It's been stifled. They have people now looking at the vast state as a heavenly state, a pie in the sky. You'll get yours when you die. You get your slice of pie when you die in the sky. is a heavenly state. Well, according to the Lord's Prayer, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So as above, so below. As within, so without. So if you wait for your slice of pie in the sky, then you only have one aspect correct. Where's your slice of pie on earth? In fact, they tell you that North America is apple pie. So it's time for you to get your slice of apple pie. What case proves the vast estate? That is the heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States. Then we're talking about the land grants. This is what we're talking about. Me just sitting in a temple saying or talking about the vast estate isn't enough proof, isn't the evidence on which I'm looking for. Therefore, that's the reason why I can't go to these infiltrated temples.
WASHITAW.
So this is the problem with these infiltrated temples. They have the people disconnected historically through law because they're scared. If you know the law, you're going to be made a sovereign citizen. And that might be the case. But that doesn't matter because the laws in which that you're quoting are right in his act. And you will prove that to yourself if you go to court. If you know how to write up an affidavit. This is the issue that we're facing. Are we going to study law, which is part of history, or vacate the law aspect for the sake of pseudo-history, such as me just talking about the vast estate and can't prove it? Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave several clues.
Sorry, El-Bey.
Can you music back on?
Peace out.
Music back on. Music back on, please. So, no, please use the background. You just left the call. Use the background.
The brother that just came in, sorry, you need to mute take your mic off.
Okay. All right, so this is the distinction that you have to understand, because we have a lot of people who are paper chasers. They go from group to group to group to group, collecting documentation. I've seen it over the last 30 years. That's all they do. Don't contribute shit to the damn nation. We're paper chasers. They take our flag, put it on other people's documentation, other shit in which that they've gotten. Everybody have the right to their own procedure according to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. That's fine. However, don't take our procedure and add that shit to other people's procedures. And vice versa. Our information is trying to clear up the mess. They're trying to incorporate the family of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and his teachings, his real teachings, not pseudo history. Not sensationalism. You get in your little Sunday school, you get happy, just like the Christians, no different. So if you Negro, black, and colored, NBCs, you're stateless. You're without a state. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about your own state. Even though you was born, as they say, in a state, that's what they say. You was born in a state. You was born in South Dakota. You was born in Maryland. You was born in Florida. You don't have your own state as a Moor, as indigenous, aboriginal. Thus, technically, you are without a state or political community, destitute of state or ceremonial dignity. They don't want you to understand that. But look at nationality. Somebody read nationality here for me.
Nationality, that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. According to Savigny, nationality is also used as opposed to territoriality for the purpose of distinguishing the case of a nation having no national territory. For example, the Jews, 8 Sabbaths, section 346, Westall, Prib, and Law 5.
All right. So it tells you, like the so-called Jews, now they have this state. It's called Israel. The Zionist state, as it is, man-made, and it has to be a spy network on the Middle East or the United States. But regardless, it says nationality, that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. United WASHITAW is your nation, and the state is the vastest state which we have through the hands of Turner versus the United States. The 68,883 acres of land. The problem is you have to have people on the land doing work on the land. Now, for the people who are there on the land, there can be lot fees, just like a trailer park. We have to pay lot fees monthly. These are concepts that we can come up with as we begin to develop our law firm and court system. These are the steps that we have to look at. So this isn't play. This is serious. Even Newsweek asked the question, what color is black? Science, politics, and racial identity. So we know the land rights stretches out into almost the whole of Canada. It governs over 30 million acres in North America alone, as you can see here. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Minnesota, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Utah, parts of Texas, New Mexico, Florida, and portions of even the so-called 13 colonies. On up into Canada. This book was taken from an 8th grade social science book. As you see here, this is the Louisiana so-called purchase. As you see, most of Canada was part of that process. So Canada does not exist. What they refer to as Canada is actually incorporated in Delaware, just like a state. all states are incorporated in Delaware. You don't believe me? Look it up. As Brother Panic used to say, Google that shit. This is the way they make it look. Changing America boundaries in the age of Jefferson. See, they changed it. All right. Someone read the Pope's letter to Obama for me.
Obama, July 4th, 2014. Yamin L. All of the states and the states erroneously believed to represent the American states and American state citizens, and which were conveyed by fraud and legal deceit to the United States of America, minor, and more recently to the United Nations, are revenued without exception to the geographically defined American states and the American state citizens, where they shall remain in perpetuity as assets belonging to the rightful and lawful beneficiaries. All legal fiction entities, however structured and named after the American states and American state citizens, are returned to them in their control, free and clear of any debt, promise, encumbrance, or obligation alleged against them as a result of false claims made in their behalf by officers of the United States of America, Incorporated, and the United States, Incorporated, capital letters, or by any foreign officials operating the United States of America, minor, or the United Nations city-state falsely claiming to represent them or have jurisdiction over them. The Don, owner, controller of all the corporations on the planet, and we know that the United States is a corporation, is saying that the people's estate are given back to them, but first, hashtag nationality is the order of the day, and then you can really make this letter apply to you.
All right. What do you all gather from this letter? We're talking about the vast estate, and here he is talking about the estates. They speak of belonging to the rightful and lawful beneficiaries.
No, he's talking about us.
Right.
We just have to step up and start claiming it.
Exactly. However, we have to be organized to do so. It can't be a monkey show.
This was 10 and a half years ago.
Exactly.
Is it that the rightful owners haven't stepped up, which is us, to make the claim?
Exactly. All right. So when we just article for me.
Peace, God. I read it.
Okay, thank you.
Inner City Plow, Louisiana, continuing her quest to bring truth to light. Empress Verdiachi Tierra Washita Turner Gaston El-Bey recalling 40 years of work, including research as an activist.
Archivist.
Archivist. In order to locate documents and treaties concerning land known as the Louisiana Purchase, in which her people are identified as the ancient ones. The Empress says their land was never included in any land deal, that it was not part of the Louisiana Purchase when sold by Spain to France, nor was it bought in 1803 when France rolls it to the United States of America. She writes, President Thomas Jefferson was well aware of the fraudulent land deal and stated his sentiments at the time. In truth, the land spoken of has never been a part of the United States of America. It has always belonged to the ancient ones. This sounds like the same land President Abraham Lincoln was going to return to the Moors after slavery. He called it the Egypt of the West and or Central America, in land between the Rockies and the Allegheny Mountains, from the Gulf of Mexico up into Canada and on both sides of the Mississippi. In 1848, the Washitaw, also known as Washita and Tunica nations, took their land case before the U.S. Supreme Court and won their case under Judge Taney, the same judge who in 1856 gave his opinion, which was not a legal decision, in the tragic Dred Scott case. Well, I don't agree with that, but which basically states there's nothing a black man has that a white man is bound to respect. This is true. The result of his opinion meant further slavery and death to Washita Tunica and other nations. They were murdered by the tens of thousands, enslaved and run off their lands. Their names were changed to hide the truth of their history. The Washita became Washington and Tunica became Turner.
And you're gonna have this book. This book, We Are the Washitaw. Did you know that the United States never finished paying for the Louisiana Purchase? This document is no longer on the internet. I got it prior to them discontinuing it, in which that states the Washita Dedectamania, Inuit, oldest indigenous people on earth. Recorded July the 29th through August the 2nd in Geneva, Switzerland, 1996. It was more steps in order to take to become a so-called bona fide nation. However, because of the status in which that the Empress was able to gain at the United Nations, he felt we was already a nation. Because historically it was already verified by the Spanish, French, United States, etc. But this is what she writes. Someone read this for me?
One nation cannot make laws in another nation. One nation cannot make law on another nation's land. One nation cannot steal and sell another nation's ancestral artifacts and property, then flood their sacred places on indigenous peoples' lands that have always belonged to their ancient ones, which is protected by treaties signed by the protectorator. It is further proclaimed that all indigenous sacred sites and grounds shall be returned to the descendants of the ancient inhabitants to ensure preservation. Be it further proclaimed that I now take all indigenous nations, tribes, communities, and villages with our lands, rivers, and wildlife under the protection of the Empire of WASHITAW Dedectamania. It is further proclaimed that the United States and the United States of America must make fair and just compensation for the disposition of our people and the unauthorized occupation of our lands, commencing with the first year to be paid 80 quadrillion non-counterfeit United States dollars each year for 194 years, this being the third and final notice of the outstanding debt of the 13 United States, the United States and the United States of America based on the claims filed that have yet to be settled or relieved. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation be sent to the governments of the 13 United States, and the United States of America, as well as the governments of the member states of the United Nations and the non-governmental organizations concerned. Therefore, it is now proclaimed in legal section convened this fourth day of the second month of the year 1997 of this common era. Signed, Verdias, Etiara, Washita, Turner, Alim El-Bey, Empress of the Washita Dedectamania. A witness, can't tell the first name, Bay, and another witness, and signed and sealed. A true copy.
Right. So they've been able to verify at least 68,883 acres of land in which they state did not belong to them, but belong to the family of the Turners, the Turner clan. This is the years of Henry Turner versus the United States. He showed this document last week and even read it. At least a portion of it anyway. In which that verifies the names here as they're listed also here. So we had a brother last week to comment on a post that the Empress lied. What did she lie about? Might have been some misunderstanding, but she didn't lie about the court cases. Can't lie about that. This is an actual court case in which that verifies the information from the state of Louisiana. Which is also verified in the land grant, the Spanish land grant, which you also read last week. From the county of WASHITAW. All right, someone read for me, if you can see it. The mound builders.
I can read it.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
The outskirt mound builders were indigenous blacks of North America, ancestors of American Washita Empire, who so many have been deliberately destroyed over 200,000 ancient pyramids and 100 mounds of earth in the shape of cones. Animals and drill method designs can still be found from the southern coast of America to Canada. That's key. These structures were built by so-called obscure people large known as the mound builders. The truth about the mound builders is suppressed. Why? Because they were an advanced civilization of dark-skinned, woolly-haired blacks who were indigenous, native to North America, kin to the Olmecs of South America. At one time, the African and American continent were joined, as proven by their similarities of tropical plants and animals, geographical traits, and their appearances of fitting together. The black mound builders were the Washita Moors, the Washita, am I saying that right? Washita?
Mm-hmm.
Moors, the original inhabitants of North and South America. Many people in North America are unknowing descendants of these mound builders, indigenous blacks, and not descendants of black African slaves. Therefore, Columbus was not entirely wrong in calling people Indians, The true meaning of Indians is black people. The massive reminding remains of this ancient black civilization empire standing as one of the best kept archaeological colonialized, what's that word? Archaeological,
Archaeological.
archaeological, I couldn't see that. Secret in the country in Ancient America magazine. Issue 17 report evidence for black-skinned natives in America long before the arrival of Columbus and ambushed or abandoned. What's that A word? Columbus is
Abundance.
abundant from the distantly Negroid features of the colonized, colossal Olmec sculpture and a pre-Aztec obsidian bowl being upheld by a figure with unmistakable black characteristics to the bone of Negroid person and excavated from a 2,000-year-old mound in North Wisconsin. A wealthy of material exit to establish the presence of non-white, non-Indian population living in pre-colonial America along with these other groups. Many mound builders were huge and their ancient skeletons were often 7 to 8 feet. The only other living people on earth this tall are another group of blacks, the mascot of Africa. In his book, it says that we are the WASHITAW. Website www.hotep.org and mobile exhibit some. I don't know what it is. Dr. Umar S. Bey, himself a Washita Moore and author of the Washita Mound Builders, documented the black mound builders. He also documented the present-day Washita Nation in Louisiana, recently recognized by the United Nations and Empress of the Washita, Vernice Tyra, Washita Turner, Gusto L. Bay.
All right. Okay. Can you read this?
I'll read.
All right.
The Americans, misnomer, were conquered and Christianized by the sword. North America, misnomer, a Maxam, Turtle Island, had long been peacefully inhabited by Moors, Mers, and Asiatics. Indians is a misnomer because at the time the continent was attacked by the Vatican. Indian was called Hinduism. Hindus means in God. The Moors, being known as the Mound Builders, Washita, or Dogdamondia Moors, the Architectural Conspiracy Smithsonian Institute founded for this purpose in 1829 in USA
Hold on, God. Let me use somebody's background.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read that over.
Okay.
Alright, so Asiatics Indian is a misnomer because at the time the Continental was attacked by the Vatican. India was called Hindustan. Indus means in God. The Moors being known as the Mound builders, WASHITAW, or Togdamonia Moors. The Architectural Conspiracy, Smithsonian Institute, founded for this purpose in 1829 in USA Today, is carefully hiding the true history of our story, which includes pyramids all along the Mississippi River. Missouri and Mississippi corresponds to Blue and White Nile in Egypt. Thousands of mounds, breathtaking impossible artifacts, etc. Some things cannot be hidden. Example, the Hermetic Streets layout of Washington, D.C., Streets layout of Washington, D.C., and Great Seal on the dollar. But mostly the true story of Turtle Island was carefully hidden by the Masonic hands, and the common people were uh, redirected in Jesuit schools,
Re-educated.
re-educated in Jesuit schools and universities. Moors, misnomer blacks, were systematically trans, traumatized and families separated to make them unlearn their bloodline.
Right. And that's what happened. And many of us come from this bloodline. I'm sure all of us on here come from this bloodline, or we want to have an interest in this information. The one ever touched us the way that it has. All right, we spoke about this before. You go to the Smithsonian, you want to look up these particular treaties, get copies, take pictures if you can. Someone read this for me.
The Act of Congress of April 24th, 1820 was one of the earliest statutes passed for granted land patterns, along with the Homestead Act, Section 4, in 1862, and, as stated earlier, the disposal of its territories and land acquired for the people is by purchase and by treaty. Contract for and by the people. To wit, number 1, Northwest Ordinance 1787. Number 2, Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 8 Stats 80, 1783. The Treaty of Garnet, 8 Stat 218, 1818. Oregon Treaty, 9 Stat 869, June 15, 1846. The Treaty of Guadalupe, Hedilog, 9 Stat 922, 1848. Treaty of Secession, 8 Stat 200, 1863. The treaty contract law cannot be interfered with, as the Supreme Court has held that treaties are the supreme law of the land. See also Article 6, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. The treaty is declared the will of the people of the United States, and shall be superior to the Constitution and the laws of if any individual states.
All right. All right, can someone read this? These are some of the treaties that we have with some of the groups of the nations that we put on file at the United Nations.
United, WASHITAW, did Dugdamania Moore Nation, United Nations treaties, and etc. The following is proof of our United Nations affiliates and the various treaties that we have set forth thus far. We, as United WASHITAW, did Dugdamania Moore Nation, are in treaty with the Rainbow Nation of Native Americans, United Nubian Moors of Mount Arafat, the She Clan of the Yamasee Native American Moors, the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, the Moors of the Round Table, the Seminole Intertribal Nation, the original Moab Kituwa Cherokee Band, the Anigitawa Nation, the Yamasee Nation of Moors, the Nisu Clan of Moors, the ISIS Indigenous Sovereign International Society, now called ARNA, Aboriginal Republic of North America, United WASHITAW did Dugdamania Moore Nation, Unity, United WASHITAW did Dugdamania Naga Moore Nation is the first nation state of Empire WASHITAW did Dugdamania Moors, IPP, Indigenous Project People's Project number 215/93, accepted by the Empress Verdiasi Tierra Tunica Turner, Washita, Washington, Alim El-Bey, and her son, Fredericks Joe Washington, Prince Aurora Regent Empire Washita did Dugdamania Moors on May 15, 2004. However, as set down to us by Crown Prince Hutan Tupac Bey, Prince Ramesses Abel Bey, United WASHITAW did Dugdamania Moor Nation operates anonymously from the Empire WASHITAW did Dugdamania Moors, Amaru. United WASHITAW did Dugdamania Moor Nation is also a member of UMAR, which is Unified Moorish American Aboriginal Republic, United Moorish American Aboriginal Republic, United Nations National Governmental Organization number 37801 since 2009. Members of UMAR are also called the Anonymous Akhenaten International Moorish Council.
So, let's look at some of the documents that we put on file at the United Nations. This is 2007. Where we came together. In treaty, in order to put documents on the public record. As we would say, engineer the sourcing under the Treaty Act. I'm going to read everything, of course. We came together as UMAR, not Johnson. Okay. Can someone read the warning?
Warning and advertisement notice. In the event that we of the United Moorish Moroccan American Aboriginal Republic, UMAR, are ever referred to or labeled as an anti-government separatist group or cult in any form or of broadcast, print, or electronic media. This includes the internet and the World Wide Web. We will consider such action as malicious libel and slander, and will take immediate lawful and legal action against any and all parties, be they individuals, persons, and or corporations. In the event that any national or official of the United Moorish Moroccan American Aboriginal Republic, UMAR, is arrested, detained, or otherwise deprived of rights as a free, indigenous sovereign, Moorish national, or of pure blood on the pretext of unarticulated suspicion of being a part of anti-government separatist group, black separatist group, black supremacist, cult, common law court activists, paper terrorists, or terrorists, we will consider such action as libel, slander, defamation, and malicious deprivation of rights, and will take all immediately appropriate, lawful, and legal action against any and all parties, be they individuals, persons, and or corporations. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Doc, these are on file at the United Nations?
Yes.
Okay. And we should be able to request copies of these, right? From the UN?
From the UN in New York and Geneva, Switzerland, yeah.
Okay.
What names do you see here? You see my name, Alim El-Bey. You see Queen's name, Tadera, Mound El-Bey. As well as others that you might know, such as City of the Dignitaries. This seal here, that you see, verifies what is called docet. Docet means that it was put into the treaty section in Geneva, Switzerland. But if you don't know French, this should still be easy to read. The Center of Documentation, the research and information of the people, of the indigenous people, who they call the Achitano. If you ever been to the website, you can see that our chief ambassador is Tarif Ankh. You see a picture of him there. Once again, this is information that you can find in Geneva, Switzerland, as well as in New York. Okay. Are there any questions concerning anything that we're going over today?
Yes, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I remember you were talking on a couple of videos. You were talking about your family tree, and I just ordered the kit last week. So how do I incorporate my family tree into my nationality and stuff like that?
Once you get your information, you can send it to Tyrone Cannon. Tyrone Cannon, he's a geneticist, and he can do your private / public genetic tests in order to verify that you are indigenously from here, and you can add that information to your nationality documents as verification.
Is he on your website? His information on your website?
No, I have to give it to you.
All right, that's cool. Do you want me to give you my number, or my email? Or...
Yes, you can email me. Make sure that I know that it's you and what you want.
All right. Thank you.
Right, but you can't do it until after you do the test. You're going to need the test from Ancestry or 23andMe or something like that where you can do it.
All right. I'm going to let you know.
All right.
All right.
Hey, Dr. Ali? Dr. Ali?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get to hear you. Brother Rishis, I wanted you to send his papers back to his sisters. I don't know why, but that's he told me to tell you.
Okay.
If you do that,
All right.
Okay. How you been doing, brother?
Doing well.
Okay.
There's no more questions. I'm going to say, I'll say WASHITAW.
And I'll tell you what story is not so Alim.
I say WASHITAW.
WASHITAW.
I'd say WASHITAW. It's not.
Yeah, I'll say WASHITAW.
Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Dr. Alim?
Wow.
Dr. Alim?
Yes.
After you authenticate the birth certificate, like you did it for me, I remember in one of your classes you was talking about a BC title ownership for it, and is that I have to go to the?
I wish I could have a baby. When I grow up, I can cut him up with nobody, and I'm gonna be all about that. Ow! Isn't that cool?
Hello. I can't hear you at all.
Wait, what you were saying, God?
I said after you do the birth certificate, after it's authenticated, you're talking about a BC, which is like a title of ownership or something like that.
Yeah.
Where do I go at to get that?
I don't know. You put on the public record. What about it?
Over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, okay, God.